Hello! Welcome back to
another episode of Books, Beer
and Wine. I'm Cora.
And I'm Karina.
And today we are going to talk about Let's Get Back to the Party by Zak Salih.
And it is another book that focuses on the life of queer people.
Surprise, surprise.
So we're actually immediately intrigued because we love to read as many gay books as possible. So what is this book about? When is it set? It's
15,
16, yeah. And we are following the life of two people, or two main characters, mostly. And Sebastian is the first one. Oscar the second one.
Sebastian is a bit boring.
No, he's a normal guy.
Yeah.
Living a settled life as a teacher at a university. And he is gay. High school is it?
Yeah.
So, but he's a gay man doing his job, and the interesting part is that he sees all of these young students who are very sure of their own identity and live their life, live out their sexuality.
Yeah.
And he envies that because he's in his early 30s, and when he was the same age as the students are now, he wasn't
out.
He wasn't out, and it was another maybe a bigger deal to get out of the closet.
Yes, absolutely.
Like in 2015, it was quite cool to be gay. So back when he was that young, it wasn't. So he envies this freedom that his students have. That's the one character. And the other one is Oscar.
Yeah, and I think we mostly love Oscar.
Yeah.
He's a bit over the top, a bit more, but he's a fun character. He's interesting, and he speaks out what many of us think when we realize that being gay is cool, and I want to have a gay best friend because it's cool to have a gay best friend, because gays are always good with fashion and interior design, and they can help me with all my man troubles. Or I'm gonna go to a drag brunch because drag queens are cool now. And he's really pissed with all people, straight people who go there, or straight people who go to the gay beach or whatever. And he, in a way, feels a nostalgia for a time he hasn't lived in. So actually he feels a nostalgia for the time of after Francesco, which we discussed in our last BBW. And
the 80s.
The 80s, yeah, and where being gay was still something special, and you had to fight for it.
Fight for your rights, and therefore you were so bonded in your community.
Yeah, and he misses that.
He misses that, and that feeling, and that it was something special, and that you had to stand up for yourself.
And I mean, he definitely idealizes that, because he didn't live in that time.
Yes.
So he must be our age.
Yeah, but he idealizes
the time and what he thinks. So what in his head it meant to be gay in the 80s, in a time where it was still a fight, a struggle, and a huge risk for your life. Even gay people aren't safe from his rage. So everything gay people do to be more in that heteronormative society, and getting married now and adopt children, he hates that. I don't think because he hates it because he hates marriage per se or children
because it's too easy for them.
Yeah, because it's easy, because it's what the straights do, and for him it feels like giving in, I think.
Yeah, I think that's it. So we have these quite two opposite people.
Opposite.
Opposite people. Like Sebastian, who envies the young people who can live their life as free as they do. And then we have Oscar, who really doesn't like that new...
Who envies the older people.
Who envies the older people and who doesn't like the change in the community.
Yeah.
Change is probably that part
so.
that he despises.
Yeah.
So, and those two people, Sebastian and Oscar, were friends when they were in college, right?
High school.
High school. So we got those two opposite people. And they were friends, but they haven't seen each other in over a decade now. And then they meet each other again.
So they were best friends in high school and then meet briefly in college, but just for an evening. And then after a decade,
they meet again. Yes.
At a wedding.
At a wedding. So we basically now follow their lives, and their friendship has cooled off, really.
Mm-hmm.
They, especially Oscar, with his very strong opinion about this new wave of gay people, obviously doesn't agree with Sebastian's point of view. So there's some kind of conflict there.
Sebastian wants that, what Oscar hates. Sebastian wants to marry.
Then two interesting things happen. Both men fall in love. Sebastian falls in love with a younger student of his. And
so he's 17, and I'm not even sure if that is love.
I don't know, but he idolizes him.
He's infatuated.
Yeah.
He
admires him for his...
Yeah, and so there's definitely something really weird going on.
And Oscar meets one of the gay icons from the 80s.
Yeah.
So he meets his role model, so to speak, because he admires the time that he lived in.
Yeah.
And so with a much older guy. And we have those two relationships, and I put them in quotes because not necessarily that doesn't happen that much.
So in both cases it's not a love or even a physical relationship, but I think both are, you said that before, they are in love with these people in different ways and not necessarily in healthy ways.
Exactly, and that's the interesting part about that book, because now those two former friends get connected because of their relationships, and I put it like this again, and so they are confronted with each other and especially with their own past and their own identity. And the whole picture of what is right and what is wrong, what's the right way to deal with queerness in our society, gets questioned for both of them. And that was a very good and interesting part of that book, because it is very diverse in its queerness.
Yeah.
I guess we're both pretty sure that we love Oscar the most. But all characters are great on its own. And I think even Sebastian is he's a nice guy.
He
just wants to do the right things.
The steady one.
Yeah,
but
and
also,
I like him.
But also, so that student thing is very it's creepy, and I actually didn't like that in the plot, because I don't say that is not happening, and I don't say that we shouldn't talk about it, but I still feel like we are still in a time where often LGBTQ plus people are still the bad people in plots, who are still the ones who get ridiculed, and I found that a bit problematic.
Yeah, because it's a bit stalkerish also.
And it's a lot of, I mean, there are a lot of power relations which are
he abuses his
his power in
his
a way.
power.
So even though his student isn't aware of most of it, but it's still problematic, and I would prefer stories for now that picture us as normal people.
Yeah, that's a very important point. That's true.
Yeah.
Although I see why the author chose such a young guy, because I think he wanted, I mean, I don't know, we would have to ask him.
It
shows
shows
a generation clash.
Yeah, where generations clash. Yeah, no, I don't say that it's problematic to feel jealous, for example.
No, I totally get what you mean.
There
But
are just a few things the author could have just left out, and I wouldn't have said anything about that at all.
But it's reflected. I think it's I mean, Sebastian reflects, that's where this book is going. He reflects his own relationship, his own feelings during the story, and it's not like the author puts it, how should I put it? It's like it's a process for him in his head.
Yeah.
And I totally get your point, and I think he should have done it differently. And it's sad in a way to see that it's again a gay person who is one of the bad guys in that situation.
Yeah.
But I think for his own process, there had to be some kind of plot in the book for him to reflect his own feelings and his position in the gay community.
Yeah. We said Oscar is great, and I would also say Sean.
Sean, the gay icon, he has some kind of relationship with.
He's an author of basically sex books.
Yes.
So
So again, a book about queer people, but compared to After Francesco, it's a much more lighthearted book.
mostly, yeah.
Mostly, yeah. So if you want to have a fun read,
Let's
queer-
get back to the party.
queer literature,
Yeah.
then you have to read Let's Get Back to the Party. So we hope to see you soon again to our next episode, where we will discuss my favorite book of this year, Shaggy Bane.
See you next time. Yeah.
Bye bye.